2016, I had purchased a monster suit on eBay that was not only from Big Bad Beetleborgs, but also from Power Rangers in Space. Then it occurred to me that not a lot of people know the sort of the complexity that goes into creating such a suit, or what it's even like to be inside a monster suit. So here in Nendoramachine Monster Special, this week I'm not only going to give you the lowdown on the Monster of the Week, but I'm also going to give you insight as to how these monster suits are made and just what it is like to wear a monster suit. So without further ado, here's a little bit of info on Crimson Creep himself. Crimson Creep actually started out as Gagamoth in the Japanese Metal Heroes show B-Fighter. Gagamoth started out as a larva and was an energy-sucking caterpillar monster. You might remember this form as cataclysmic from his appearances in Beetleborgs. When the Gagamoth larva absorbed the power of the Beat Ingram, the Thunder Stinger, the Gagamoth transmutated into a red moth monster. In this adult form, its arms transformed into duplicates of the Input Magnum, Sonic Laser, and Stinger Blade respectively. It was soon after the first monster to be destroyed by Super Blue Beat. Gagamoth's first form was later revived by Jagul, Hypnomaniac, to fight the Bee-Fighters, Jan Person, Gun Gibson, and Blue Swat in episodes 52 and 53. Now we get to Beetleborgs. Crimson Creep was a red moth monster. In the episode Bride of Frankenbeans, Crimson Creep was summoned from issue 140 of Beetleborgs by the Magnivores to crash the wedding of Frankenbeans. He ended up getting his own party crashed into when Drew, in Mega Blue Beetleborg mode, sent him back to the comics with his trusty Thunder Stinger. Crimson Creep was later released from the comics by Nukas, amongst other monsters in Borg Slayer. You can see him there dancing in the background. Also of note that Crimson Creep was to be included in the Borg Slayer costume. His arm dangled from Borg Slayer's skirt, but was removed between his use in B-Fighter and Beetleborgs. Crimson Creep was next used as the Moth Beater monster for Power Rangers in Space Episode 42 Countdown to Destruction. He was so nicknamed because he could be seen beating his arms and wings. He was a part of Divatox's army, and it could be seen while she made her grand entrance, saying, Unknown to most, Crimson Creep actually had one more appearance. In Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue episode The Fate of Lightspeed Part 2, Queen Banshira falls into the crypt. As she falls, monsters gather around her, and he can be seen beating her with his mock Stinger Blade weapon. The suit of Crimson Creep was then sent to the Saban warehouse for a time, after which it was sold off at the ABC Monster auctions. In the auctions, the suit had its face smashed in for some reason, a problem which was rectified by its previous owner. The suit was then sold again on a non-eBay site, and then sold again to yours truly on eBay. He now resides quite happily in my basement. So the condition that he's in today, well, as you can see, he's still got a lot of fight left in him. The main problem with him is that his paint is flaking and the foam is drying out, but as you can see here, it's not quite drying out like it is normally with monster costumes. Now, as for the condition of his wings, though, as you can see here, the wings are deteriorating. This is mostly due to that they had made these out of latex and not, like, say, cloth. Now, if I were to restore him, the first thing I'd probably do is tie-dye some cloth to make it look like the wing pattern, and then I would drape it over these rod-like things, and I'd sew it to get back together so that he'd have some wings to flap around. I had actually tried before my hand at restoring a part of the suit, just, you know, with some latex paint that I had on hand. As you can see, I painted a little bit of the white over here on the gun. I think that latex paint could be used straight on if you're only painting an area that won't move around. Now, if you were to restore like a part, like the joint here, first I would say you'd have to take a picture so that you know the exact color scheme, and then go over it with a latex straight base, and then spray paint the colors that you want on in the exact same fashion if you were to restore. I wanted to do a little bit of a comparison here between the gun on his hand versus the what it was based off of, the Input Magnum, the sonic laser, just so you get a better idea of the detail that sort of went into this thing. And then here is his mock Stinger blade, and here's a little comparison here between the actual and what they were trying to, what it was mutated into. And then here's the back of the suit of Crimson Creep. I just wanted to give you an idea of sort of the details of the back. Now, going down here, the other problem with Crimson is the giant hole that they blew out in his butt. Now, the only real reason that they did this is to make his back so that you could zipper it. But really, the shoulders carry all the weight on the suit, as you can see in here. Yeah, everything is putting stress onto the shoulders. I suppose I'll eventually use the hole in the butt so that the stand will go through it, so I could zipper this thing closed. But it wasn't really worth it to just destroy the part of the suit just for looks. Now, as for the stand, you'll notice that they just called him Red Villain. They had no idea that his real name was Crimson Creep. And while during the filming of Beetleborgs, they didn't even bother to label the suit as Crimson Creep. Now, this stand, of course, the original stand was just this long piece, and there were these two cross pieces on the bottom and this piece. I had to actually reinforce this piece with a 2x2 because the stand was creaking and it was really about to break when I received it. Now, some people have actually went to reinforce this, well, not just reinforce the stand, but replace the stand altogether, since it's just two 2x4s. With Power Driller, they had used white PVC pipe to redo the stand, and I've seen a Darkonda, a Mutant Darkonda rather, that used a coat rack, and they blew it through the hole in the butt, and they did the exact same thing that they did with the Crimson Creep. Now, as for the inside of the suit, you can see the basic construction is foam, but it's foam that's been overlapped onto an actual bodysuit. Now, this bodysuit connects with some boots lower down. The bodysuit is then, I mean, they put the foam over it, and then, as you can see, they just continue to layer the foam. And in the front here, if you zoom in there, you can see that they actually have mesh where you can see out of the suit. Now, on the opposite side of the suit, that's not visible unless you go really close to the suit. You can see where you can see out of the suit, but on most suits, the visibility is different. I've noticed that on Fright Wing, they used wire mesh that you could see out of. The footage shown inside the suit, this is where you could see out of. This is actually where you're supposed to see out of. Now, the stand was in the way of the other part, but you can also see out of these two little stripes underneath his eyes. Now what you've all been waiting for, me actually trying on this suit. Yeah, it's a sort of a pain to get off the stand, but once it's off, it's fairly easy to move around since he's just foam. Now, I can't get my legs into this thing. It would probably require a truck, but even so, pretty small actor would fit in this suit, so I can't even get my legs in here. But he does snugly and securely fit my upper torso. And I'm pretty happy about that. And it doesn't do him any harm to move around. But if I want to simulate him walking around, all I have to do is just kick the feet forward. But hey, Crimson Creep lives once again. I just wanted to show this off. This is a little plaque I had made, with his bio and stuff, similar to what's going to be put in the thread. But if you'll notice, up here, he has two little red antennae, which I didn't realize until later that he had. But yeah, you can see in the final product he had these antennae too. Now if we go over to the suit, you'll see he does not have these antennae, and instead that they actually put red duct tape where the antennae had fallen off, so that you wouldn't notice that they were gone. I think that's pretty funny because Power Rangers has been notable for doing this before. They put the duct tape on Zed's staff and then their red duct tape on the Red Ranger's helmet. I just find it funny that they did it again. Now, each monster suit came with a certificate of authenticity. Here's Crimson Creeps. Basically says the exact same thing on every monster costume. Does not give the episode that he's in, of course. Well, that's it for this week's post. Be sure to join us next week on Rangerboard when we once again do the Monster of the Week. And starting next week, we'll be kicking off Beetleborgs monsters. So, all you Beetleborgs and Beefire fans, be sure to check out the thread link in the description. Thanks for watching, and have a great week.